Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe. Listen to your heart, listen to your heart, listen to your heart, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 believe, believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 believe, believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe.
Oi, oi, people, welcome back to another stream. What a beautiful Friday morning and afternoon we are having. What a beautiful day it is. What a beautiful weekend ahead. Welcome to all of you fantastic people to this show, which was meant to be primarily just a preview for tomorrow's game where we'd say we're going to slap up Manchester United and we're going to win the double and so on and so forth. But shit is breaking, people. There is a lot of managerial news. A lot of managers fucking off. A lot of managers hopefully signing new contracts. Which we're going to talk about the whole lot. Big up everybody joining us. Make sure you've all hit that big fat thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new on the road to 9K. And there's a big link in the chat for any of you wishing to be channel members joining our prestigious club for prestigious people. But let's start at home, people. Let's start at home. Once you hit the like button, Pep Guardiola. I have been making it clear on the Big Six and on here for a while that I felt Pep was going to leave in 2025. This was me being pessimistic. This was me getting that feeling off. There's nothing ITK about it. I don't know anything about Pep's situation. Like, if you're coming to me for inside information, you're coming to the wrong place. I have no inside information, but the good feeling I had was that Pep will leave in 2025, May, end of next season. That was based off the comments he made on the pitch the other day when he said, I'm closer to leaving than I am to staying. It was just an accumulative feeling I was getting. And that may still be the case. But we have some news from Mike Keegan, who works for the Daily Mail, if I'm not mistaken. Mike Keegan, Daily Mail, he says, breaking. Man City want Pep Guardiola to sign a new long-term contract that would see him extend his stay at the Etihad Stadium beyond a decade. Long-term. Long-term is ambitious. So, if true, look, if I'm being honest, I don't know how credible Mike Keegan is. I know he's around a long time, and I know he City Extra aggregate all of his news and so on and so forth. But I actually don't know what his track record is like with getting things right and getting things wrong. Is there anything to get right or wrong here? Is he just stating the obvious? Or is there some ambitious idea behind this that City believe there is room to get Pep on a new long-term contract? Now, look, if you had told me that he will extend and it'll be for one more year till 2026, I would have said that's fucking gold. We've struck gold here, people. We're getting a 10th year of Pep Guardiola. If that was to be the case, if that is to be the case, one more year on top of what he currently has, and he hits that beautiful number 10, I'll go, wow, that's unbelievable. But if City can somehow talk this guy into putting pen to paper for a long term. Now, look, long term is open to interpretation. You know what I'm saying? Long term could mean 3 years. It could mean 5 years. It could mean Chelsea death row 8 years. No one knows really what length we're talking about with long term here. But if City could get Pep to put pen to paper for more than 1 year extension, they're doing really well. Now, look, my thoughts on this is, if this is true, and if Pep does sign an extension for more than 1 year, my guess is it will be with the view that he can still leave whenever he wants. It's that he doesn't have to fully fulfill whatever contract he signs. I think it will be that Pep signs a contract till 2028, 2029, whatever it may be, if it's to be a long-term contract, but he can kind of leave whenever he feels the time is right. Now, look, it's an ambitious thing. It's a really ambitious thing because by the time we get to 2025, Joe, it'll be 9 years of Pep Guardiola. It's a tall order for a man who's delivered so much for us in the 8 years so far to believe we can get him for even more. But then you deep it. Why wouldn't he? Do you know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't he? Unless he's feeling a bit like poor old Jurgen and he wants a nap and a bratwurst. Do you know what I'm saying? A little bit of a break. He needs a bit of time off. Why wouldn't he sign a new contract? I would 100% believe they'll boost his wages. I would 100% believe they will continue to back him in the transfer market, and this is interlinked very much to a lot of our transfer streams recently, Joe. That I believe this summer is not only crucial for challenging for the league next season, but also for retaining Pep Guardiola. Where it's better for Pep if he wants to stay in the game? Where's better for him?
Well, there isn't a place better. It just kind of comes down to. Like, it's for me, it's 4 factors. Like, and one of them is kind of uncontrollable. It's up to him, but it's, do the fans want him to stay? Yes. Does the board want him to stay? Yes. Do the players want him to stay? Yes. Of course they do. I mean, why wouldn't they? Like, those are 3 key components of every single person related to the club wants this guy to stay. I can guarantee you that for a fact. There is not a single soul who's connected to the club who doesn't want him to sign on. The 4th component to that is, does he want it? Which is uncontrollable. We can't control how long he wants to keep going for, and that's for him to decide which. I mean, I guess I could see a world in which he does sign a long-term extension but doesn't fulfill it. He decides that after a couple of years into that, maybe he decides, I want to take a break. I mean, I took a quick Google there, went on Transfermarkt where you were talking, had a look at Klopp's contract. Klopp's contract wasn't up until 2026. He just decided that now was the time to call it quits. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't leave because he his contract was up and he decided it was time. He just decided, even though he's got 2 more years left on his contract, 2 more seasons, he had enough. He wanted to go. So I could see a world in which Pep does that. He signs potentially for 3 years and maybe after 1 or 2 decides, no, I don't want to keep going. I want to go on holiday, enjoy my life, and then get back in the game. Because he's obviously still going to manage after us. We're not his last club. It's not his last job. But I do think after a minimum 9 years, because it will be a minimum of 9 years, he will probably take a break. Because this is the longest he's ever been at one club, if I'm mistaken. Unless you count like Barcelona and Barcelona B.
Comfortably, the longest it's been.
So he's never done this at this level for this long. So I reckon he does take a break for at least a year, takes a year out. But I'm more hoping I really, really want him to stay, obviously, because he's so good. But because the manager market is just so poor at the moment, there is not an outstanding candidate. Look at all the clubs around Europe, but Barcelona and Bayern Munich scrambling around. I know Barcelona have sorted their situation, but Bayern Munich, look at the mess going on at Bayern Munich. Look at how many names they've been linked with. They're now onto Company, who's just been relegated with Burnley. Like, the manager market is not good. It's really not good at the moment. That's why Liverpool have ended up with Arne Slot, who most people are kind of like, okay, it's not the worst, but it's like not the big name that maybe some people would have expected they'd go for. But what big name is there? There isn't really one. So we're at a very crucial point now where we all want him to stay because of obviously how good he is, but replacing the man is difficult, even more so with the lack of just standout name.
City have to pitch this correctly to Pep Guardiola. Now, this is all pending. He's not just genuinely feeling like he needs a break, and he's like, look, if Pep Guardiola turns around and says, I want sabbatical entirely from football for however long, a year, 2, 3, 4, whatever, you have to honor that wish. You have to honor that wish and say, look, he's made his mind up. The fella wants a break. Fair enough. Off you go into the sunset. You're a legend here, regardless. If he says, I want to stay in the game and I want to do it at a less intense environment, less demanding environment, which is what I had kind of resigned to. I had kind of become comfortable and okay with the idea of Pep and De Bruyne leaving in 2025 and going to New York, because that's still keeping him in the CFG. Do you know what I'm saying? If you can keep Pep in the CFG, where he's on hand to help out in Manchester or wherever, in Melbourne or wherever, be part of, still have his DNA and his presence felt in the City Football Group. I was okay with that. I was all right with that, because as a fan base, we should all be comfortable with the idea and become comfortable with the idea that he is one day going to leave. Whether that's in 1 year, whether that's in 3, 4, 5, 6 years, we have to accept that he's one day going to leave. We're not going to get, 100 years of Pep. We're not going to get, the idea of him doing the same amount of time as Alex Ferguson is even crazy, even though, look, it's not out of the realms of possibility, but it's still a crazy possibility, if that makes sense. But City have to pitch this correctly to Pep Guardiola. Now, we know how this works every single summer, people. If you're clued into how the summer period works for Manchester City, they'll go on holidays after the FA Cup. They'll the players competing in the Euros will go off to their countries and prepare for the Euros, and they'll go and play in the tournament. Meanwhile, what does Pep Guardiola do? He genuinely goes to Abu Dhabi. Pep generally goes to Abu Dhabi. He meets up with Sheikh Mansour. Khaldoon goes with him. No one ever actually really knows what the discussion is about. I would assume a lot of it is well done, congratulations, but also talking about the plans moving forward and how we can continue / improve if there's even room for improvement. This summer is going to be different. This summer's meeting, which I'm sure they will have, as they annually do, is going to be different. I think the Sheikh has to make an effort here. The Sheikh and Khaldoon, who will be the two main people at this meeting, which usually takes place, have to make a big effort to convince Pep and pitch correctly to Pep Guardiola. But I don't think it's a hard pitch to make. I don't think it's a hard sell to convince Pep Guardiola that this is still the place for him. Once again, pending he's not bollocks tired and needs a nap. And I think the point you made, Joe, about the manager market and the overall standard of managers around the world not being at an all-time high is one of the key points Manchester City can use in their pitch for Pep Guardiola. You turn to Pep and you say, look, listen, Pep, yeah, I know you've just won 6 out of 8 Premier Leagues or whatever. Yeah, 6 out of 8 Premier Leagues. You probably feel like you conquered the world, which you absolutely have, but you are in a position right now where you can go down as the greatest manager of all time, undisputed, like no conversation, because the competition you're up against, respectfully to everybody else, isn't crazy. It doesn't strike the fear of God into you, other than Real Madrid. Yeah, other than Real Madrid people who, of course, have Carlo Ancelotti. We expect them to get Xabi Alonso in 12 months' time, and of course, they're building a freaky super team. Other than them, there's no one in world football that should really scare Pep Guardiola and make Pep Guardiola go, I'm not really up for this challenge. Do you know what I'm saying? That should go, that should make Pep feel like, oh, I'm not up for another era of competing with this team consistently. I think we'll compete with Real Madrid consistently for Champions League, and that can go either way every single season. I think we can beat them on a given season, and they can beat us on a given season, as we've proved over the past 3, 4, 5 seasons when we played them. But domestically, Pep has Arteta's number. Pep has Arteta's number. I don't care. Pep has Arteta's number. And if Pep wants it bad enough, he'll continue to beat Arteta. He will. There's night and day between them. It's chalk and cheese. I fully back. I don't care how much money Arsenal throw at the case. I don't care how much belief they get behind it. I don't care how much they try to get on our case. Once we have Pep Guardiola, I believe 9 times out of 10 we will outdo Arsenal. I look at the fucking state of Manchester United, who have just apparently sacked the manager the day before a cup final, and I go, look, you're out of sight, you're out of mind. Yeah, I'll continue to laugh at you, but I don't see you catching up on us in the next... I think I'm going to say 7, 8 years at least. I don't see them being a real threat to us. I look at Chelsea, a club who I have a good relationship with over the past 24 hours. They're an absolute cesspit. They're a joke shop. They are poison for any manager, up-and-coming manager to go to right now. They're poison for me for any young up-and-coming player to go to right now. I know I said that about Cole Palmer and he smashed it. Cole Palmer will want to leave. He'll want to leave in the next year or two unless this Chelsea situation improves. I look at Tottenham. No, I'm not too arsed about you. I look at Liverpool. Not too arsed about you right now either. There's absolute room and massive room for Pep to continue to siege this Premier League, like dominate this Premier League, but it has to be a two-way street. It has to be a two-way street because Pep can be Pep all he wants and Pep can be amazing all he wants. But the other way of the street, the other side of the coin, is that the board must provide for Pep Guardiola. They must give Pep Guardiola the relevant resources. And that doesn't mean wages. That doesn't just mean wages. You have to absolutely hire his wages. You must hire Pep Guardiola's wages. I know he's on about 20 million a year right now. I'd put him up to 25, 30. I think he's worth the extra 5, 10 million easily. And then I'm talking transfers. I'm absolutely talking transfers. If Pep identifies names this summer and goes, look, these 2, 3, 4, whatever players, how many he identifies, and he says, look, I want these. I need these players. City have to go and get those players, or at the very least, the first alternative. We can't be doing a Bayern Munich and going down 25 man and you know, picking the 27th member and going, right, we'll take him. You have to make sure Pep feels like he's been given what he needs to continue, because as we always say, Joe, there's no point having the golden manager if you're not going to give him the golden resources and you're not going to give him the keys to the house. We essentially have to give Pep Guardiola the feeling that PSG gave to Mbappe. Is that a risky move? It can be, but I think Pep has worked up enough credit and enough love from the club and trust from the club and the fan base that he's worth that. He's absolutely worth that license. I'm not saying he's bigger than the club. I'm not saying he's bigger than anybody. But when he's built up as much success and credit and love and trust and relationship with everybody in the club, he's worthy of giving that to. That's what Manchester United did for Alex Ferguson. They gave Alex Ferguson the keys to the house. He did the scouting. He did the recruitment. He managed. He coached. He did everything. City must do that for Pep Guardiola if they want to give themselves a puncher's chance of getting him on a long-term contract.
Well, that's the biggest one for me. When you're going to try and convince him to stay, obviously the legacy talk comes into it and trying to make it feel, you know, like it's special. But the biggest one for me will be transfer market. Because we even though we're still on the edge of a double, we won 4 in a row. And towards the end of the season, the signings that we did make, they all played pretty well. You look at Kovacic, Guardiola, even Doku as well. They all played really well towards the end of the season. Still, for me, was a subpar window. That was still a subpar transfer window. Just for the first half of the season, it looked like none of them. It looked like none of the signings were really going to hit the ground running, and they were all sort of project players. That's the stage we were at. So, big one for me is transfer market. You got to get the players that Pep wants. You've also got to try and steer away from project players as well, because even though the headline says long-term extension, it's not. I still don't think when they say long-term, it's 5-6 years. It's not. Long-term for me at this stage, after 9 years, is 3. That's quite a long-term commitment. After 9 years is add another 3. So we have to steer away from project players. We have to give them players that will help us win now to extend this period. There's no point saying, Pep, look at this legacy and all of this, and then going and signing more 21-year-old players who are going to take a few seasons. There's no point.
Yeah.
You might as well get rid of Pep and just start a whole new transition period. That's the reality of the situation. If you're going to sign young, then we're probably not going to be as good. And if we're not going to be as good, might as well start the transition. Like, you've got to give them the players. I know that he wanted Paqueta. Paqueta's off the table because he's been found, well, by all accounts, it looks like he's been found guilty of all of his gambling charges, or some of his gambling charges. So that's off the table. We know we wanted him last summer. But we can't be doing, like you said, we can't be doing a Bayern Munich. We can't be doing what we did last summer and looking at Paqueta, we can't get him, and then ending up with Mateus Nunes. Like, Mateus Nunes was a 3rd or 4th choice, I believe. I don't think it was he was definitely not a first choice. And we can see that because he barely played. He barely got a look because I don't think it was really in the plan to sign him. He just wasn't a name. So we can't afford to have that again. We need to give him the players that he wants, which again, big thing in the meeting, if they're going to try and, if Khaldoon is going to try and convince him to stay, one of the points has to be, listen, write your names down. Write down the names that you want, and we'll try and buy them. We'll try and get them. This war chest that they've been speaking about, that's resurfaced, needs to be brought out now.
Well, as someone in the chat here says, where's it gone? Where's it gone? Someone says something. Yeah. Fraser, City has to spend 300-400 million in the summer because spending cap is coming in 25-26. So this is a big summer for everybody. And City, it's probably the last summer that we know of anyway, unless the rules change between now and then, that City can really flex their muscles financially. So City have to go and flex their muscles financially for Pep Guardiola. Look, this would be devastating news for the rest of the English Premier League and European football if Pep was to sign a long-term contract for Manchester City. Like I said, long-term is open to interpretation, but it would be devastating news for absolutely everybody. Trust me, this piece of news came out from Mike Keegan 1 hour ago. Yeah, I quote tweeted it and I've tweeted about it twice. My DMs are already full of people fuming, angry, calling us cheats as usual, as expected, saying Pep should leave, he's a fraud, he's done everything based on cheating and so on and so forth. This would ruin the hope of not just fans, but other managers in the league. Other managers in the league who might go, oh, if he's leaving in 2025, there might be an open door there. There might be an avenue for someone else to nick a bit of success off Manchester City. And then Pep comes out with a statement of intent saying he's staying for not just 1, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Who knows in terms of long term? It would be absolutely piss boiling. And also, I hate to bring it into the conversation, but it would also be further optimism that City are going to get off these charges. Why would he sign a long-term contract unless he's been assured or proven or being given guarantee that City are going to be cleared in the short-term future or short to medium-term future of these charges? It would mean he's fully invested into the project of Manchester City. And by being fully invested into the project of Manchester City, what Joe said is right. No more project players. I don't want any more project players. I'd be okay with 1 or 2, that you work on your Savios, whoever else, another young player or 2, but it's got to be right here, right now. We can't hit a brick wall. We can't break down and go into a total refresh, a total transition, the way Liverpool have had to do once or twice, the way we've seen plenty of clubs have to do over the years. You need to keep the momentum of Pep Guardiola and the big wheel turning. You know what I'm saying? You need to keep the cycle going. You need to keep the flexing going of both our financial power and our on the pitch dominance. You need to keep that going. So big signings this summer are crucial for 2024-2025 season, as well as showing to Pep how much we want to continue to back him, showing Pep how much we want to keep him. It's also interesting, the idea of signing Pep to a long-term contract. How is that interlinked with Tiki? Does that mean Tiki might continue to stay on a bit longer, or is Pep comfortable with life without Tiki? Is Pep just would we give Pep more power? Would we give Pep some of what Tiki does? I'm not too sure. But as I said, I'm very comfortable with giving Pep more responsibility and more power in the day-to-day runnings of the club. We have to treat Pep as the hierarchy of the day-to-day runnings of the club. That's what you do with a manager like Pep Guardiola. You allow Pep to be influential in the boardroom. You allow Pep to be to have the keys to essentially whatever he wants within reason. Maybe Tiki wants a new challenge. Yeah, maybe. But Pep, like I said, he's in the best place possible right now. He's built what we are. Obviously, you know, you've had your Pellegrinis, your Mancinis, and the board have done great to get us to where we are. But Pep is he was the man who took that big leap, that big step from being the club kind of that's doing well. They've been taken over. They've won a few trophies to now we're an absolute shithouse of a power club that everybody hates and people feel they can't compete with. So I feel you have to give Pep those reins. I think if Pep is to sign a new long-term contract, the role in which he's playing and the influence he has over the club might increase, Joe.
Which is warranted. Like, if he's going to stay, it's because you clearly trust that there's not going to be a dip in performance, there's not going to be a dip in hunger levels, because he's won everything. There's nothing else in this country that he can win. He's done it all. So, and he's done all the records as well, like the treble, he's got 100 points, he's won 3 in a row, 4 in a row now. Like, there's nothing he can do apart from go invincible, which if you want to sacrifice your soul and draw 12 games, then you can do that. You might not win the league, might not. But that's the only thing he's got left. Really and truly, that's the only thing he's got left. And I don't think it's a necessity. I really don't think he views it as that either. It's not all about records. But as long as there's not a dip in hunger levels, then yeah, of course, the club should trust him to do more. I don't think he should be given the role of Tiki, because Tiki does all the contracts and the negotiating. He's director of football. Pep is obviously, if you watch the press conferences or you read stuff, he stays as far away from the negotiation table as physically possible. He has no idea what goes on there because he has no interest in that side of things. He just gives the club a name, goes, I'd quite like him, and then a few weeks later that player may arrive, or they may come back to him and say, we can't get him, is there anybody else? You know, that's his side of the transfer market, is just giving the club names. I don't think he'd really be interested in doing what Tiki does and actually negotiating. But in terms of maybe a little bit more power, in terms of a bit more authority, put his foot down with signings. Because how many signings over the years? Now, granted, they've all kind of worked out. In fact, no, they've all worked out. But there's been players over the years that Pep has wanted, the club haven't signed, and it's kind of been like, oh, what ifs. But a lot of them what ifs have turned out to be beneficial to us. Look at Harry Maguire. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. We go and sign Ruben Diaz. And then we look at someone like Sanchez, Fred, Sanchez, they all end up at United. They all end up terrible. We end up with just bad players. Like, it's worked out. But I think it's come to a point now where you know you're not going to have... I'm very confident in saying you're not going to have like 5-6 years. 3 maximum for me. I still doubt 3, but for me, I'm kind of looking at 3 and going, you may get squeezed 3 more years out of him. You got to give him his first choice targets and get him what he wants to win now and extend the period, because we're going to have a rocky period when he leaves. So you got to maximise what you can get now.
Well, like I said, I'd be over the moon with 1 year on top of what he's already signed up for. To 2026, make it to 10. I'd be absolutely over the moon with that. That would be 10 years of Pep Guardiola. That would be absolutely outrageous. There's a part of me, knowing Pep for as long as we've known him, people, obviously not personally, unfortunately, but knowing Pep for as long as we've known him, and his own relentless, never dying, never ending hunger for success, and his ability to go again and again and again. I have this weird feeling that Pep really wants another Champions League with Manchester City. He really wants to leave no doubt that what he did with Manchester City was earth shaking, earth shattering, all-time type of era we're talking here. Pep wants to bring more European success to Manchester City and bona fide himself as the greatest manager that English football, potentially the world, has ever seen. I already believe he is, but it's definitely still up for interpretation. Another Champions League, and you're really going, wow. So that's my feeling. That's potentially why he may sign a new contract. Look, this is very much, this piece of news we got today, people. It's very much from Manchester City's side, yeah? It's very much Manchester City making it clear that they want to sign Pep on a new long-term contract. We have nothing from Pep Guardiola's side. We have no inclination of what he wants to do. It's all up in the air as to what Pep himself wants, and that's ultimately what it'll come down to. City can offer Pep whatever the hell they want. They can give him any reassurances they want, any guarantees they want. But if he, at the end of the day, decides it's time to pack my bags, I want to go to New York, or I want to go back to Spain, or wherever, put his feet up in the Bahamas, it's up to him. If he decides that's what he wants to do, City have no power in that front, and we as a fan base have to go, we're not disappointed. You can't allow yourself to feel disappointed in that situation, because he doesn't deserve that. He absolutely doesn't deserve that. Whenever he decides to go, there has to be a stand named after him. There has to be a statue erected. There has to be a proper farewell, a testimonial. We have to go out on a limb and do everything possible, tick every box in terms of honoring Pep Guardiola. So like I said, this is very much just coming from Manchester City's side, this type of thing. Guys, we are about 15 likes off the big 100, so make sure you've hit that like button. People, get us to 100 likes. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're getting on the road to 9k now. We're over halfway there in terms of 8 to 9k. Subscribe if you're new, and there's a link in the chat if any of you fantastic people wish to become a member of this channel. A prestigious club for prestigious people. But yeah, get us up to 100 likes, man. Would be massively appreciated. Do you think, is it symbolic, or is it just quite funny that on the day that apparently Ten Hag has been sacked, there's nothing confirmed from Manchester United, but it's leaked, and we know there's a lot of leaks within Manchester United Football Club to the media, that we're getting news that City want to sign Pep to a long-term contract. Actually, sorry, before you fucking answer that, let me ask you this. The fact that City want to sign Pep to a long-term contract, do you think that makes them believe it's a possibility? Do you think they feel there might be room for this year? From whatever they've gauged off Pep Guardiola, there has to be no smoke without fire. Do you think they're kind of thinking, maybe we can get this out of him?
Honestly, I can't believe my eyes. I could believe the Ten Hag thing, but the timing is unreal. I'm not usually one who believes in coincidences. I think everything happens for a reason, but I can't help but just feel that this is just a coincidence. But then again, at the same time, like if the news doesn't come out that Ten Hag is his marching orders, how likely is it the news about Pep just stays under wraps? Because it's realistically, right? Like you just said before, it's not like major breaking news. I feel like either of us could have told you the club side of things, which is what that piece of news is. Either of us could have sat here and said the club want him to stay. I feel like anyone kind of could have said that. So it's not really like major, he's going to, or he's leaning towards this, because there's nothing from his side. I don't know. It's very, very, very weird timing, but it sums it up, doesn't it? Sums up the situations between the two clubs. One's just won 4 in a row, talking about extending their manager's contract. The other one's finished 8th, and it's about to sack another manager.
But it's funny though, isn't it? Like, I know the Ten Hag thing is hilarious and so on and so forth. I'm a big fan of Ten Hag, people. I didn't want him to go, save Ten Hag and that. But the Pep thing, City must feel, or they must have got some sort of a feeling off Pep that they could potentially get Pep on a new long-term contract. This wouldn't be dropping if City felt, look, the door's closed, Pep has made his mind up, it's the era's come to an end for Pep Guardiola. I don't know if we'd be getting this. Or is it
No.
just lazy journalism? I don't know. I'd like to think not from Mike Keegan.
No, I wouldn't say lazy journalism. There must be some sort of feeling that, again, it just comes down to there is a fucking massive double door open in the front building of the Premier League that he could just walk through, take what he wants. Like, there is no challenger. The closest challenger he has is his former assistant manager, who he knows inside out, and he's basically just a clone of Pep. All of his tactical ideas that have got him, the whole the 4 centre-halves thing, the inverted fullback with Zinchenko, and even just the signings of Zinchenko and Jesus. He's Pep 2.0. He's Pep's son. It's just Pep with hair. Like, Pep knows how to beat this guy. He was his assistant manager, the same way that Arteta probably knows a few things about what Pep does because he was his assistant. But of course, Pep is the better manager and the more experienced manager. So that's his competition in the league. And then it comes down to, like you said before, Real Madrid and their Galacticos in the Champions League. They're the only team that actually really, really, it terrifies me, the names they've got on the team sheet. But, like, I don't think this would come out if there wasn't optimism about the situation in general, and if there wasn't a chance that this could happen. Because why would it? Why would you give people hope? Why would it come out now as well, especially, a day before a cup final? Why would it come out? Because we all know, remember how Company left as a player? Company left. He literally waited until the cup final, FA Cup final, and said, right, I'm off. Yeah. He waited until the season was done.
That's what I'm saying. There has to be some sort of optimism within the club that Pep is somewhat open to signing a new contract. There has to be. There has to be. They would not allow this kind of level of hope and praying for Manchester City fans to happen, only for it to be shut down. But the reality is, we may not know. I mean, could he sign a new contract this summer? Potentially. I just feel it'll happen. If it is to happen, it'll happen sometime during the season, during the new season, maybe during one of the international breaks.
He doesn't do summer. Every contract every contract extension I can remember has always been, November, December, about halfway through.
Yeah, that's why I think maybe during one of the international breaks in the season or around Christmas time. I don't know, but they had their work cut out. There's definitely no contract signed. There's definitely no agreement, but you're getting my fucking hopes up, Mike Keegan. Do you know what I'm saying? You're getting my hopes up, Mr. Keegan. So we'll hope on that one. But listen, Ten Hag, the cup final, it's looking like he's gone. Nothing confirmed, of course, but most of the major outlets are on it now. The Guardian are on it. They're pretty credible. And we have the task of dealing with Ten Hag tomorrow. Will we put an end to Ten Hag's era, Joe? Will we send him off with another loss, or will we send him off with a trophy? And what kind of mind frame will Manchester United as a team and as a club be in tomorrow?
Well, you said it on Twitter, didn't you? You were like, I have no idea whether this is a good or bad thing. And I kind of look at it the same way. I'm trying to be objective and look at both sides. On the one hand, I'm looking at it and going, he knows he's out the door, so he's not going to care. The players know he's out the door, so they're not going to care about playing for him. The whole thing's a mess. They just want the season to be over. Like, that's the one hand. And then the other side, you're thinking, Ten Hag goes out on a trophy. How do they justify sacking him? So maybe he'll be more motivated to win it, because if he wins a trophy and still gets sacked, there's something about the club. 2
trophies in 2 years.
I know. It says something about the club if he gets 2 trophies in 2 years and still gets sacked. Like, it just then becomes a who wants the Man United job after that. Like, who was going to want that job if they win a trophy in their first season and win a trophy in their second season and still get sacked? Who's going to want that job? So he might want to prove that. And then you've got some of the player side as well. I look at someone like Marcus Rashford, who's been underperforming. He's been dropped from the England squad. He's not going to the Euros. Does he have a point to prove? Potentially. Like, there's so many narratives that I don't know whether it's a good thing. We know that it's going to be his final game as Man United manager, though. Because, he's P45 is waiting for him in the changing room. It's sat there waiting. It's on the bench. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a good thing. but I wouldn't necessarily think it's not a bad thing either. Like, it doesn't change much for me, the fact that he's gonna lose his job. Like, it doesn't change. 'Cause regardless, he'd try and win it anyway.
I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna lose my job. That's Ten Hag doing his press conference today. I'm gonna lose my job.
Fucking hell,
Big up Daniel
mate.
Thompson. We've hit 100 likes. Yeah, big up to everybody who's hit the like button. I'm run over 100 likes. Make sure you're hitting the like button still if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you're new. And if anybody wishes to be a channel member like Daniel Thompson, like Briggsy, like John Grogan, Sit Down with Jeff. Yeah, there's a link in the chat for any of you who want to become a channel member and help support me and Joey Boy. It's a prestigious club for prestigious people. So if you're a prestigious person, become a channel member today. It is interesting though. It is funny. I mean, how will the Man United players be mentally for tomorrow? I wonder. Like, I think they're glad he's gone. I think, as Goldberg says, player power has prevailed. Player power has prevailed. I think they're glad he's gone. I think he's not had hold of that dressing room for the best part of a whole season. I think for the majority of this season, Ten Hag has not had control of that dressing room. Yeah, they have not been playing for him. There's been too many rifts, too many signs of unrest and unhappiness. But then again, will it give them motivation? Will it give them motivation with the idea of they're playing for their futures, and whoever the next manager may be could be looking at the game tomorrow and saying, who do I want to keep? I mean, the fact that they've allegedly sacked him at this point, does that insinuate that they've made contact with someone else? Does that insinuate that they've already found their next manager? I don't know. Tuchel, Poch, there's loads of names flying around. De Zerbi. None of them really scare me, if I'm honest. None of them really bother me if they get any of these guys. Kieran McKenna, if he becomes the manager of Manchester United, do you think I'm bothered about that? No, absolutely not. But will the Man United players suddenly click into gear and go, oh, we're playing for our futures here? And of course, the idea of winning a medal, winning another piece of silverware and trying to justify their own season. I'm not too sure. The place is absolutely toxic. It's an absolute shit show. There's piss running down the stairs. The roof is leaking. The manager's leaving. The players are out in the piss. In Belfast, you know what I mean? It's a mess, but at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck what's going on over there. We have history to make. No club has ever won a back-to-back double. Another piece of history, unique history, that Pep Guardiola can add to his armour tomorrow. And we have a fully fit squad, which is rare, very rare. We have a fully fit squad, but we do. So, without being too arrogant here, people, we should really be steamrolling this lot. I mean, I'm not expecting a goal within 13 seconds again, but we should really be steamrolling this lot, regardless of how motivated or demotivated they are, regardless of whether, Ten Hag's sitting there just constantly saying, I'm going to do my job, or whether he wants to prove Manchester United silly for sacking him. I don't care. We are so superior to them. In every sense of the word superior, we are. Infrastructurally, facilities, players, manager, coaching, recruitment. It is night and day between Manchester City and Manchester United Football Club. There's no comparison other than the fact that they've simply just won more trophies in their entire history. We are better than them at absolutely everything. There's no world where they should be beating us. There really isn't, Joe.
I mean, there shouldn't be a world in which they're in this situation, because we all remember Coventry got absolutely fleeced. Absolutely fleeced. This should be Man City versus Coventry, and we should be going, I'm looking forward to this game, because I don't know what to expect and play Coventry. I like this, but now we're looking at Man United and going, we have to play this shit show again. Mate, I don't want to... It's boring to me, because this is what Man United do, right? No, it reminds me of United under Ollie. Play absolute dross. Absolutely terrible. Get battered a couple of times. Rock up at City. 1-0, 2-1 wins. Like, that's just... It pissed me off because they were so shit. Like, I just don't... Like... This is their season, though, isn't it? Because they finished 8th in the league, which is not a European place. When you said players fighting for their futures... If they want European football, I believe you get Europa League if you win the FA Cup. If they want European football, they're going to have to win the Cup. Otherwise, they've only got domestic football next season. There's no European football at Old Trafford if they don't win this game. So there's not only the future in terms of playing time for the new manager, whoever that may be, its future is in next season. not playing in Europe, which, you know, it would naturally help their chances of getting something like top 4 only playing once a week. But, like, still, playing in Europe, Europa League, you might not like Europa League, but it's a trophy on the line. European trophy, free ticket to Champions League football. I mean, like, it's big for them, but they are so unbelievably bad. Like, I think I said it yesterday when we had Briggsy on. It's the worst Man United side I've ever seen. They are one of the worst coach sides I have ever seen. Like, it's comically bad, some of this shit. And like you said, Ten Hag's lost that dressing room ages ago. Some of the shit he's been doing this season is like, mate, what? Are you trying to lose your job? Like, some of the shit I've seen this guy do, it's like, he's asking for the sack. Remember at the start of the season when they spent all that money on Haaland and he didn't get a look in. He'd play an hour and get subbed off. And then he'd be on the bench. Then you look at Casemiro playing centre-half and getting spun 8 times at Crystal Palace. And look at the way he's handled the Martinez injury situation. He's rushed him back about 4 times and he's got injured again. Look at the state of it, mate. Signing Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans in 2024. It's a sackable offence signing him in the first place, honestly. Like, some of the decisions, some of the tactical setups, personnel. Anthony as a whole is just a signing. Possibly pound for pound, the worst purchase in history. Not football history, just the worst purchase in history. Like, these are his players, man. This is his squad. You can't turn around after 2 years with, you know, maybe, I don't know how you view the sacking. To be honest, I think it was coming. He had it coming. But this is his squad. These are his signings. These are his players.
He's done well to last this long.
I know. Johnny Evans is his player, man. Anthony, his player. Like, these are his signings. And they've ended up in 8th. This is his mess. This is his mess. He has to clean it up, and he didn't. He failed. And this, like, Man United's season, disregard the Premier League. They finished 8th. They finished mid-table. That's just where they finished, right? This season, they could have fast-forwarded. They could have played the under-21s for the last, 10 games, right? Their season now relies on an FA Cup. That is their season. That is going to sum their season up. 1 game.
I know. It's a bad look when they say, what did you do in your career at Manchester United? And he goes, I won the Carabao Cup. What else? I signed Anthony. What else? I signed Johnny Evans.
I signed Johnny Evans and he got about 10, 20 appearances.
Like, I know Steve always says this, and it's so worth, like, laughing at that. Evans played and got sent off in the 6-1 in 2011. It was 2011, wasn't it? He got played and got sent off in that game. And then fast forward to 2024, he signed as a first-team player, making regular appearances for Manchester United Football Club. It's just wow, like, people like Matt Busby be turning in their graves. Alex Ferguson sitting there with his fist clenched and his face looking like a cooked turkey. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy, but look, I'm neither here nor there with them. I don't really care anymore. I'll laugh at them when needs be. I don't care who they bring in next. Whoever they bring in next will not close the gap between us and them. The gap is too sufficient. And tomorrow, I think we're going to do that. I am doing a watch along tomorrow, by the way, live at about 2:30 tomorrow, people, for a watch along. Do join me, and Joe will be on production. He'll be there to share his thoughts whenever I call upon him. So live at 2:30 for a watch along. We'll get that scheduled as soon as possible, so you guys can hit the like button on it and get yourselves notification bells turned on. Do we want to do predicted 11, or does it kind of predict itself, Joe?
Oh, we can go through it. I don't see why not. Even if it does predict itself, just let me get it up. Right, I've got it up. Do you want to just rattle through them quickly?
Yeah. Did you actually, before we go into goalkeepers, right? There was this super chatter on the Big Six last night. Forget his name. He ended up DMing me after the show, and he was complaining about City being on steroids and City being corrupt and this, that, the other, whatever. And he goes, "Oh, Scott Carson signing a new 1-year deal at City. You know, and having never made any appearances for the club, nothing dodgy about that." And I was like, oh, it's such a weird complaint. And he has made an appearance. You know what I mean? He played against Newcastle in May 2021. Made a save.
He played against Sporting in the second half of a Champions League last 16 game 1 year.
Yeah, man.
Mate,
Yeah, man.
he's got a Champions League appearance. It's more than you can say about some of the other clubs.
Yeah, man. Exactly. He'd have more appearances in the Champions League than plenty of Man United squad, plenty of Chelsea squad, plenty of a lot of people's squads. But anyway, listen, Ortega goes in nets as normal. Even if Ederson was fit, Ortega would be the man in between the sticks for tomorrow. No complaints, no conversation needed there. Right back, I think it'll be Kyle Walker for some reason.
Yeah, captain, trophy on the line, makes sense. He's going to lift it. So I don't want a full kit wanker situation on Terry vibes. Him just strolling up in his kit and not having played. It makes sense. I mean, he was podcasting again today, I think, doing some sort of interview, which it made me shudder a little bit. I'm like, would this guy just close his mouth, please? Like, come on. Like, I saw a few quotes going by, and it was basically, I think it was saying that he was talking about next season and, you know, when he first signed. Basically, like, I think the gist of it was he wants to stay, he's happy, and, you know, he's talking about how his time has been so far. It was more like it was almost like an extension interview with the things he was saying, but that's about his, 7th interview this season, unprovoked. Just...
I love Kyle Walker, right? But I would have no qualms with him leaving this summer. I'd have no issue with Kyle Walker leaving this summer. We'll do streams on that conversation throughout the summer, but I think he starts tomorrow anyway. I don't know why. I have a feeling it's going to be Diaz and Stones, Joe. I have a feeling. I don't know what you think.
I don't know whether you drop a Kanji. Or... I don't know whether I agree. I know it's a Pep thing to do. I just don't see it because Stones has been fit for weeks. He's just not got a look in at all.
That's why I think it's a Pep thing to do.
I mean, I can put it in if you want to spice up the predicted 11.
I want it to be Ake and Akanji. That's what I want it to be. Ake and Akanji. At most, Diaz and Akanji.
I can take Diaz. I can take Diaz because he played well the last couple of games, but...
Well, then Diaz and Akanji then, because Akanji's fitter than Ake, isn't he? Ake had a bit of an issue recently, even though he's declared fit right now, but Akanji be fitter than Ake.
Yeah.
Then Vardy on the left.
Yeah, I mean, Vardiol's the shoe in there, isn't he?
Yeah, Vardiol's the first name in that defence, 100%.
Right, okay. Rodri, in your home, fella.
Rodri getting your gaff. De Bruyne.
Yeah. De Bruyne. A lot of talk about him going Saudi recently. You've seen it's perked up again. Apparently they're willing to wait.
Okay, well, they can keep waiting. Beside him, Foden.
No Kovacic, no?
Nah.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, what do you think?
Difficult. Really difficult. Because I guess it kind of depends how United's set up. Because against West Ham, he didn't go with Kovacic because West Ham went with a 5. So he put Doku in there. There's, you know, an extra attacker, an extra body. And put Foden in the midfield, play Foden, De Bruyne. That was the midfield that we had against West Ham. I don't think United to play a 5. Really don't. Because I think I kind of know where you're going with this. Are you trying to suggest Grealish on the left? Because Grealish is in the same category as Stones, so he's just not got a look. He's been fit for weeks.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Struggling, though. I'm struggling.
Because it's hard when you got a fully fit squad, because your mind tells you just pick the team that keeps winning, which is basically this. And then you put Haaland, Bernardo. Well, we could put Haaland up front. You put Bernardo on the right. That's simple shit.
Professional idiot, Joe. You read it out, Joe. I want you to read that out.
Let me get it up on the screen. Hold on. Professional idiot. One. Need a world-class starting lineup. Text me, baby. Professional idiot. We need your help, man.
Yeah, man, I actually want your help here, professionally, man. We're trying to pick a lineup and we're struggling here. Big up for the member for the 1 month. Professional Idiot is our king of our members, people. He's the king of our members. So big up Professional Idiot for being.
This doesn't happen, does it? Because we never have a fully fit squad, so we're almost kind of like, well, this guy has to go here because we don't really have, any other options. Now we're kind of like, everybody's here. What do we do?
We're too spoiled for choice, chat. I think we're too spoiled for choice, man.
I'd almost like to see Doku again and just have the same lineup that we had against West Ham. Just keep that as it was and have Doku again, because he changed the game against Spurs, did well there, and I thought he was great against West Ham. I thought he was good.
Yeah, it was. I could also see a world where Kovacic plays beside De Bruyne and Foden goes out on the left.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm debating between. Really, I don't think Grealish will start. I don't think he will.
Breaking my heart, man, the Jack Grealish thing. It really is. I don't think Grealish has had a bad season when he's played and he's been given a run of form. I don't think he's played well. And that bald fraud, Toby, in the Big Six last night, trying to tell me Maddison deserves to be going to the Euros over Jack Grealish. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Who's James Maddison? And what's James Maddison done to deserve to be going to the Euros over Jack Grealish? People, because Jack Grealish has not been like one of the first names in the team sheet this season, they forget that we played some of our best football this season with Jack Grealish in the team. Do you know what I'm saying? Before Christmas, he was cooking. He scored a couple of goals. Champions League against Copenhagen, had to come off because he was injured, I think, and he played really well. There's another game or two where he had to come off injured, but he's playing really well. We looked our best at times with Jack Grealish in the team. But people trying to argue me saying James Maddison deserves to be going over Jack Grealish. Sorry, who's James Maddison? Who is James Maddison? And what has he done to deserve that? Other than the first 6 or 7 game weeks that James Maddison played well in for Tottenham this season, I didn't know he was playing. I didn't know he was playing for Tottenham, honestly. So I feel for Jack Grealish. You know that he's had to deal with a lot. I counted. Jack Grealish has missed 14 games in all competitions this season through injury. Now, 14 games may not seem like a huge amount in isolation, but in Manchester City's world and Pep Guardiola's world, 14 games is a long time, and a lot can change within, if you're out for 2-3 games at a time, or you're out for 3-4 games at a time, a lot can change. You know what I'm saying? You can fall out of favour really quickly. So it's annoying. It's a pain, man, that people don't put respect on Jack Grealish.
I mean, it's to be expected. He doesn't do highlight shit and get big numbers.
Bullshit is what it is, mate. It's bullshit, man. Jack's my fucking guy, man. Doku should start. He's been playing well, plus that United defence is in complete shambles. Casemiro will get cooked. Doku on the left up against Dalot. I think Doku cooks Dalot, and he did when he came on against United in the Old Trafford game before Christmas.
The one thing that scares me about that is they'll just switch fullbacks. Just put Wan-Bissaka on that side. Just tell him 1v1. That's your matchup. Which we know from experience. I don't rate Wan-Bissaka. I don't think he's a particularly good footballer. But how many times have we watched Sterling go play against Man United and just be completely locked down 1v1?
Yeah, that's true.
It just kind of concerns me a little bit that if that happens and he can't get the better of Wan-Bissaka, he basically becomes useless. Because if he's not beating his man, because he likes to dribble, if he's not beating his man, he's not necessarily like an exceptional creator from open play. He can get to the byline and cut it back, but if he's not, able to get to the byline because he can't beat his man, he's not a retainer of possession. He's not really going to swap positions with anyone, so it becomes a little bit of almost a hindrance if he can't get past his man.
Well, is there a world where Bernardo Silva doesn't start and you play Foden on one wing and Doku on the other?
No, I think the world is you just put Kovacic and you have Foden there.
Kovacic through the middle and Foden there.
Because then if you've got Vardiol going high and wide, they're not gonna put Wan-Bissaka on that because they won't need to.
That's probably it then, isn't it? That's probably it. Foden on the left, Kovacic in the middle beside De Bruyne. I mean, Kovacic did play most of the football bar West Ham in the running, didn't he?
Yeah. He didn't play against West Ham because they went with a 5 and Pep wanted an extra attacker in there to, get things moving in there. But I just think the way I think about it is that Wan-Bissaka's played at left back at certain points. So I'm imagining he'll play left back because he'll just be told to defend. and you'll have Dalot just going steaming down the right. So I'd imagine that's what United will probably want to do. So if you put Doku on there, then Ten Hag's just going to switch that. He's just going to tell Wan-Bissaka to mark Doku, and then you're going to have Dalot just going down the other side instead. Like, it's fairly switchable, and it just kind of, it might not be the best, because if it works, then, oh my God, it works. Like, if he gets past Wan-Bissaka, he may be running at Casemiro. And then at that point, it's in God's hands. But he's getting past Wan-Bissaka, which is like, again, even though I don't rate him, the one thing that I can kind of bank on Wan-Bissaka doing is clamping someone one-on-one.
Feels kind of weird saying it, but City should be targeting Casemiro. They really should be targeting Casemiro.
Absolutely. Like, that guy broke the record for, or equaled the record, I think. It was one of the two, against Crystal Palace away, for amount of times dribbled past 8, and he was playing at centre-back, and he was dribbled past 8 times.
Yeah. See, Haaland should be out to bully Casemiro tomorrow, and De Bruyne should be threading balls through. He's not mobile enough, Casemiro, to be able to deal with centre half anymore. Because I know there's a lot of athleticism required with playing DM, of course there is. But to play as a centre half, you have to be able to turn quickly, be agile, and be able to get onto, cut out balls that are being threaded through, trying to get by you. He doesn't have that in them, so players like Foden and De Bruyne should really be trying to expose Casemiro. Who plays beside Casemiro? I've absolutely no idea. Will it be Johnny Evans? Will it be Varane, maybe? I'm not even worried. I'm not too arsed who it is.
Well, Varane's fit. Martinez has been fit enough to play, but he's only been playing like an hour. So whether he can do a 90 minutes, don't know. Maguire's injured, so you're looking at Evans. You've got for Ten Hag to select. He's got Johnny Evans, who probably can't do a whole game because he's like 40. Martinez, who probably can't do a whole game because he's been injured all season. Varane and Casemiro.
Yeah, we're fine. we're fine. I actually don't care who they pick. Our attack there should be bullying their defense. Notice that Casemiro doesn't do as much dirty fouls he did in Madrid. He knows he can't get away with the rest being on his side. He did professionally in his first season at Man United. Do you remember that, Joe? In his first season, he was putting in a lot of dirty fouls, and he was getting bookings, he was getting red cards, and I think he very quickly learned that he can't do the dirty fouls in the Premier League that he was doing in Spain because he'll just get pulled up for it. I thought Casemiro at Real Madrid was class. I really rated him, but it was a bad signing for Manchester United. Real Madrid do not let go of players that they feel still have years left at the top level. Real Madrid offloading their has-beens on you. That's exactly what they did.
I think it also speaks volumes as well that like pretty well every single player that they've willingly sold, hasn't really turned out great. Look at Sergio Ramos, PSG, Casemiro, Varane, Man United. I mean, just none of them have worked out whatsoever. Like it's not because. I mean, again, it kind of speaks volumes really to how differently Real Madrid are perceived and refereed when you have Casemiro trying to play like he did at Madrid and getting 3 red cards at Man United, and then quickly realising that shit doesn't fly, I'm not wearing white anymore. Like, that speaks volumes as to one, how Madrid are just treated when it comes to officiating, but we all know that. But 2, how much of it was actually covered up? Because look at the midfield he went from as well. Casemiro, Modric, Kroos. Look at that midfield 3. The world-class midfield 3. He went from...
It costed 70 million.
Oh yeah, they paid.
70 fucking million!
They paid for Casemiro, but he went from playing beside Modric and Kroos to Bruno Fernandes, the whinge bag, and Scott McTominay.
I'm lost. 70 million. And they paid 41 for Varane. So they paid 111 million pounds for washed up Real Madrid players.
Yeah, because they thought that experience would help and they're good players. They would help them win now, which I guess they got Carabao Cup, so they did help them win now. But Varane's off in the summer. Contract's up. Casemiro should probably be off because he's just finished. Again, he's gone from being a protected figure in Real Madrid, where he can kind of get away with murder at times on the pitch. And, of course, he has world-class players around him. Look at the defenders he's had behind him, Ramos and all these, man. And, again, Kroos and Modric, to Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Bilbo Baggins, Scott McTominay, Kobe Mainu, who, like, he's what? How old is he? Like, 18, 19? I don't even know. He's basically, what I'm trying to say is he's gone from Galacticos to what the fuck is surrounding him, and he's 30 and his legs are going and he just can't keep up anymore.
Fucking hell, yeah, Bilbo Baggins, yeah, I know.
Argentinian Bilbo Baggins.
Bro, Spencer's and Mark, that's a difficult conversation that some people don't want to have, my friend. Some people don't want to have it. And this is the most typical Manchester United thing to ever happen, yeah? A decent young player comes along, he's the best thing since sliced bread, yeah? He's the next Paul Scholes, he's the next Wayne Rooney, he's the next Ronaldo, he's the next this. Garnacho was the next Ronaldo when he first burst on the scene. Do you not remember this? Don't let these things be forgotten. He was the next Ronaldo. Viva Garnacho running down the wing. Yeah, you remember all that shit? Now Mainu's the next whatever, Paul Scholes or some shit. Bro, this is what they do. Mainu's good. He's good. I like Mainu, and he's got a high ceiling. He can go far in the game, but they need to slow down. They need to slow down. I like him, and I think he's a good player. I have liked him at City when City were interested in him a year ago. But bro, slow down. Slow down on this 18-year-old man. This is what they do, Joe.
Do you remember with Garnacho? Man United fans themselves started linking Garnacho with Madrid, being like, hands off Real Madrid. Mate, I can tell you right now, Real Madrid are not fucking watching Alejandro Garnacho. They could not give a shit. They couldn't care in the slightest what he's doing. They don't want him.
Do you think Vinicius Jr. is sitting there going, oh no, Garnacho might take my place?
He's got a bicycle kick against Everton. He's got a bicycle kick against Sean Dyche. No.
Vinicius shitting himself over Alejandro Garnacho. Come on, mate. They're living in La La Land, the Man United fans, man. They're living in La La Land. They still think that they're a top team. They still think that people give a shit. I don't give a shit about Man United anymore. I really don't. He should pull off a Sancho, go Dortmund, and end up at City. I think it would be a good move for Manu to go to somewhere like Dortmund. I think Manu should go to somewhere like Dortmund. Get out of there. Get out of there. Same with Cole Palmer at Chelsea. Get out of there. Get the hell out of there. These are not good places for your development. You're clearly good players who are destined to play at the highest level in Europe. Champions League standard players, eventually, whatever. But you're not in the right places. I didn't say at the start of the season with Cole Palmer that he wouldn't do well at Chelsea. I just said he's going to the wrong place. He's just using Chelsea as a platform. Now, mind you, of course, he's Manc born and bred. Yeah, he's Manc born and bred. So he might be like Rashford and stay for a long time and so on and so forth. But I think if Mainu has real ambition of accelerating his career fast, he should go somewhere else. Like do what Bellingham did. Go to Dortmund, go to Leipzig, go somewhere like that. Go to, I don't know, AC Milan, go somewhere and develop your career nicely without the pressure of the fucking Stretford end on your back telling you you're the next fucking Paul Scholes. Fucking hell, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is why we did very well with our young players. This is why we did well. We're doing well with Rico Lewis. We're doing well with Oscar Bob. We've done well with Phil Foden. We did well with Cole Palmer. We did well with all our young players because we never hyped them up to be something they're not too soon. We all always admitted that these players are good young players, and some of them are really good young players with very high ceilings. That's what we said about Foden. He's a super talent with a very high ceiling, but he has to develop in peace without too much pressure. We never put crazy pressure on Phil Foden. Until the beginning of this season, I never put any pressure on him at all. This season, last summer, I said about Phil Foden, I want this to be the season he breaks out. Do you know what I mean? He breaks through, he breaks in, he breaks out, whatever way you want to call it, becomes a main man. But for the last 6 odd years, I was just letting Foden do his thing. However many minutes Pep gives him, whatever position Pep plays him, Foden, do your thing. But all of a sudden, Mainu plays 20 games for Man United. Fuck me, he's the next Paul Scholes. Fucking Garnacho, fuck me, he's the next Cristiano Ronaldo. Slow down. Put the brakes on. You're going to finish this kid off, man. You're going to kill him. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not good. It's not good, man. I think it's right, Joe.
Professional career killers, Man United are. How many players gone there, look shit, gone elsewhere? I mean, you don't even have to go back that far. Look at Sancho, killed it at Dortmund, went to United, looked like he didn't know how to play football, went back to Dortmund, Champions League final.
Facts. If you're a young player with a really high ceiling, yeah, you need to be in the right place to hit that ceiling. Bellingham did it perfectly. In fact, Bellingham may have even done it a bit too fast, but he's still done it very, very well. He could have actually stayed another year or two at Dortmund because we forget how young Jude Bellingham is. But look, he developed in leaps and bounds at Dortmund. Yeah, he's well able to play for Real Madrid. Of course he is. But you'll stagnate / destroy a player who's got a high ceiling, a lot of potential by keeping him in the wrong environment. And it's up to these young players, parents, their agents, their entourages to advise them correctly and not be fooled by the PR of their club. So like Rashford, I think Rashford should have left Manchester United a number of years ago to go and develop, to go and be a big man, go and get culture of football, you know what I'm saying? Become a top player in peace. Instead, he was told he's Manc born and bred, you know what I'm saying? He loves to fight Manchester United, the face of Manchester United, blah, 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 blah. It was wrong. It's too much pressure. Let these super talents develop in peace. That's where I'm at. Let them develop in peace. Rashford was a super talent. Sorry, he was. If you remember back to when Rashford was 18, 19, 20, and he was first bursting onto the scene, scoring in his first ever derby, scoring in his Old Trafford debut, electric pace, great footwork, lethal, full of confidence. He was a super talent. And because of the pressure and the PR put on top of him at Manchester United Football Club, he's just gone down and down and down and down. And you can already see it with Garnacho. You can already see it. He first burst onto the scene last season. And I remember when he'd come on the pitch against us last season as a sub, I used to go, this kid could cause trouble. He has ability. He's arrogant. He's full of confidence. And I don't mean arrogant in a bad way, but you know, he backs himself. He's one of these hungry young lads. He could cause problems. You can see him going, He doesn't have that same level of oomph about him that he used to. It'll be the same with Manu. It'll be the exact same with Manu. And I'll tell you, it'll be no different with Cole Palmer either. Blinding season with Chelsea. Cannot discredit the guy at all. An unbelievable job at Chelsea. But if Chelsea don't get their house in order, if Chelsea don't get their own house in order and create an environment for players like Palmer to flourish, he's going to have to leave, mate. He's going to have to leave because you're going to single-handedly ruin the kid. Young players, Joe, they got to be protected. They got to be protected, my friends. That's the advice.
Yeah, whoever you're hiring as your agent, fucking hope they know what they're doing because if they're recommending Chelsea or Man United, then they are them agents that recommend Chelsea, Man United, they're not thinking about what's best for the client. They're thinking about what's best for the paycheck. That's the bottom line. Because I can say here right now, I'm not a professional. I don't pretend to be a professional. But I can say here right now and say...
Don't put yourself down, mate.
No, but I can say here right now, having no knowledge of the inside workings of either club or how anything works, really, right? And say, if you're a young player, don't go Man United. Because within a few years, your career will be down. Don't go to Chelsea, because within a few years, your career will be down.
Mm-hmm.
Go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. It's proven over the years that we're very good at dealing with young players. Look at Foden and other examples. You've just got to give it time. The way we do things is just a very long, drawn-out process. If it takes a few seasons to get in. But if you're willing to wait, you will reap the rewards. And if you're not willing to wait, you know, we're not keeping you here hostage. We'll let you go. And look at the amount of names that we've had that have gone on to other clubs around Europe. Raheem Diaz, Jadon Sancho. Look at all them names. So we're good at it. United played Rashford into the ground. That guy was playing on a broken back for 2 years, pretty much. Like, that's not taking what's best for the player. That's not taking care of your players. Using and abusing him. He's Manc born and bred. Let's use him.
Bro, listen to this, yeah. Garnacho's 19 years old. 19 years old, and he's their most played outfield player this season. Can you just deep that for a sec? Their most played outfield player this season is 19. That's not good. It's not productive. It's not healthy. It's not beneficial to anyone. Anyone in that situation. It's not protecting the welfare of the young player, man. It's not protecting. I believe Garnacho is a talented player. I absolutely do. I think he's got really good ability. I don't think he'd go on to be an elite player like an all-timer, but definitely got a lot of ability. He should not be playing the most minutes for an outfield footballer for Manchester United. No. Hell no. It's wrong. It's counterproductive. Exactly on Guardiola. It's like we have Rico Lewis playing the same amount of minutes as Rodri. Fuck me. Is that going to benefit anyone? No. You're going to damage Rico Lewis. You're gonna hinder our chance of success because the young player should not be bearing the weight of the responsibility of carrying a football club that size. No. All wrong. All wrong. And the fans of these clubs are playing their part too wrongly. They're playing their part too wrongly by hyping these players up too much. Telling you, man, it's managing minutes, Briggsy, innit? It's not right, man. It's not right. It's sad. It's sad. But it makes me very proud of our system, and it makes me very proud of us as a fan base and the way we operate with young players. Yeah, the way we operate, the way we protect our young players. We don't overexpose them. I have to give Alex Ferguson credit for this because he was great at this, yeah? Ferguson would come along with a new young up-and-coming talent. He'd put them in for 3 or 4 games. They'd play really well. And everybody would be like, oh, surely he plays the next game or he continues playing for the rest of the season. The player'd go missing for 5 or 6 weeks. You wouldn't see him again. And that would be Ferguson protecting and managing a young player, not damaging the player, not risking the player's confidence or his mentality being hindered. It was just protecting the young player and giving yourself and him the best chance of developing into what you believe he can become. So you have to give Alex Ferguson credit for that, and you got to give Pep credit for that too. It's fantastic. Yeah, he did, Spencer's Mark, he did. But you have to give these great managers credit for that, knowing how to use their young players. It's all fine and well buying ready-made players and just spamming them because they're seasoned, internationals and 28, 29-year-olds. That's all fine and well. I mean, most managers can do that, but it's being able to nourish and develop young players with elite ability, elite high ceilings into becoming what they are. That's a task. That's where you show who the elite managers are and who aren't. But listen, we're diverging completely from predicted 11. That is our predicted 11. I actually don't care what the 11 is tomorrow. I believe whoever it is will beat Manchester United. Do you want to fire a score prediction? Chat, get your score predictions in now and I'll read some of them out. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Link in the chat if anybody wishes to become a channel member. It's a prestigious club for very prestigious people. So if you are a prestigious person, become a channel member. Joe, kick us off with a score prediction.
3-0. 3-0. We shouldn't be conceding to these lot. We really shouldn't. I'm not saying it should be easy or light work, but they are just different levels of shit. Like, their mentality is so bad. You've watched them plenty of times, I assume. How many times does that Man United side concede a goal and their heads just completely drop and they concede again?
Fragile.
They're so fragile. That club is just... it's a mess. I'll be disappointed if we don't keep a clean sheet. I really will. Like, game's gone this season. If we don't keep a clean sheet, I've kind of gone, it's whatever. Like, we've conceded stupid goals all season. We're disappointed if we don't keep on here. These lot are shit.
I'd be really disappointed to concede from open play. Definitely be disappointed to concede from open play. So you've gone 3-0. Briggsy says 6-1. Jill says 3-1. Away says 10-1. James says 3-0 to Manchester City. I assume the refs will help United tomorrow. I don't know, to be honest. Maybe.
Well, they did last year.
Yeah, they fucking did. The Grealish handball, wasn't it? Yeah. Fuck me. I don't know. I don't think it matters what the referees do tomorrow. I think we'll still beat them. I'm gonna go 4-0, man. I think the difference between this season and last season's cup final is when we got to last season's cup final, we were kind of it was adrenaline and determination getting us over the line. We weren't actually playing well for the last sort of few games of the season. And the Champions League final, we didn't play that well either, but it was just sheer grit and determination got us those trophies. Whereas this season, we're finishing the campaign really strong. Battering teams for 4 and 5 for the last couple of weeks. We're full of energy, full of bounce. But I think City could pump United tomorrow. I'm going to go 4-0, man. 4444 says 4-0. John Grogan says 4-0. Spencer's and Mark says 3-1. Z says 2-1. And James says 3-0. Yeah, so look, we're in form. They're out of form. And that's all that needs to be said, people. And that's all she wrote. Back tomorrow, 2:30 for the live watch along. Joe will get that scheduled whenever he can between now and this evening. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Turn on the notification bell so you can join us when we go live. Would love to have as many of you joining us as possible tomorrow for the watch along. And man, become a channel member, man, for the end of the season. It's been a fantastic few months, full time on this channel, getting to know as many of you guys as possible. Really appreciate all of your support. We've gained like 2,000 subs since we've gone full time here, since I left City Extra. You guys have been amazing at supporting me and Joe. So keep subscribing, sharing it around, hit the like button, link top of the description and in the chat now if any of you want to become a channel member and support further. But tomorrow, last watch along of the season, City United, Cup final, back-to-back doubles. We will see. Wrap her up, Joy Boy. In a bit, people.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe. Listen to your heart, listen to your heart, listen to your heart, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand.